Hi everyone, I'm Hannah Rose and you're watching Home with Hannah. In today's video, we're going to be talking about habits and how to stick to habits because, you know, creating a habit is one thing and talking about it is one thing, but actually being able to implement it into your daily life and be able to just have it as part of your daily routine is another. It's really difficult to kind of build a habit up and stick to it. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. We're now getting to June time and I think it's a great time to start thinking about your goals again, review and reflect on what you've done so far in the past 6 months, and coming up to June, be prepared to really implement some good habits and keep on track of your habits, keep yourself accountable. So in today's video, I wanted to share with you 7 ways that I feel help me stick to my habits. So to start, I wanted to share with you a quote. So I'm just gonna read this quote. I feel like this quote really ties into what I'm trying to say. So it says, it's by John C. Maxwell. He said this and he said, "You'll never change your life until you change what you do daily. The secret for success is found in your daily routine." And something I say all the time is that consistency is key. You'll hear people say that, and it's true. With a habit, it takes at least 28 days. So think about a month. It takes around 1 month to really build a habit. So what I want to do is I want to get straight into the video. I want to share the 7 tips with you. Write the tips down that I share with you and see if they can help you stick to your habits. So let's get started. Okay, so my first tip for you in helping you stick to your habits is to look at the big picture. Now, I think this is really important, and I shared something on my Instagram story the other day that kind of explains this, and it's think about where you were this time last year, and then think about where you want to be this time next year. And 6 months and a year, they can go by really quickly. And what habits do you want to start doing every day that will make you a better version of you? And when you think of this big picture and you think, wow, I've come a long way since last year. I've really become a healthier version of myself. Now, can you imagine what I'll be like this time next year if I stick to these habits? And imagine what I'll be like if I start implementing small little changes here and there in my daily routine. Where will I be this time next year? So it's important because we always will focus on what's happening now and we'll worry about the future and we'll think about the past. The main thing that I feel is really important in helping you stick to your habits is to really look at the big picture and to visualize where you want to be this time next year, and that really helps you stay motivated to do those daily habits, to stick to those daily habits, because some of these habits aren't that fun. If I want to lose weight and I want to be a certain weight this time next year, if I'm looking at the big picture, then on a daily basis, I have to be consistent with my exercise and eating healthy. And that's not always fun. We don't wake up every day and go, oh, I really want to exercise. We will have days where we don't feel like it. So it's really important to kind of look at the big picture when you're feeling a little bit defeated, a little bit demotivated, and you feel like you're off the track of like sticking to your habits. Start looking at the big picture. Write down what your goals are. Review your goals. Look where you were 6 months ago. Have you made any improvements? If not, that can be like a little push for you to work harder, to write down the habits that you want to implement and start practicing them consistently, daily. And even though we're focusing on daily, doing things daily, we really need to remember to look at that big picture, visualize where you want to be, think of your goals, and imagine how you're gonna feel once these habits become normal to you and when you're feeling your best self. How does that feel? Now that's gonna give you the motivation to stick to those habits. The small changes, they're gonna make the biggest difference. They're gonna make a big difference on how you feel, how you look, and how you go about your daily life. My second tip on how to stick to your habits is to keep yourself accountable. No one can take the blame for you not sticking to your habits but yourself. if that makes sense. Like, you can't blame anybody else but yourself. You've got to keep yourself accountable. Don't rely on others, although I will mention later on that you will need, you know, support from your family and friends and loved ones around you. But with these little habits that we have in our daily life to improve our health and wellness and overall well-being, you need to keep your own self accountable. If you want to start reading, if you're not an avid reader, then you're gonna have to build your own habit of reading maybe 20 minutes every night. And over time, it's gonna become such a normal thing, and it's gonna become part of your daily routine that you're going to, you know, build that habit. It's gonna become normal to you. But you've gotta keep your own self accountable. You will start to notice when you're slacking, when you're not reading that book, or when you're not doing your exercise. Once you become aware and you build that awareness because you're keeping your own self accountable, you will then start realizing, oh my gosh, I haven't done that in a week. Gosh, I need to get back on track, okay? And keeping your own self accountable is important, and it's all about self-motivation. If you can be self-motivated and you can take the initiative to start sticking to these habits on a daily basis consistently, then you're gonna feel really good about yourself because you're keeping yourself accountable. You can't blame anyone else but yourself, so no one else is getting hurt in the process. You're not starting any arguments over this. It's all about you and focusing on you and building your own habits for you. At the end of the day, no one's telling you you have to stick to these habits. You're the one that really wants to make this little change or a big change in your life. So it's up to you to make sure that you're staying consistent and sticking to your habits. And this brings me straight into my next tip, and that is to create a plan. I like to create a plan of action for me to stick to a habit. So for example, exercise for me, it is part of my routine. I realize, because I'm aware of how I'm feeling and everything, this past year I've realized, oh gosh, like when I'm not on track of my exercise, I am aware and I can feel it, and I know when I really need to create a plan. So what I do is, if I want to lose a few pounds, I will create myself like a 4-week workout plan, and I'll make sure I'm working out 3 to 5 times a week, and I'll just write it down. And what I'll do is I'll take a big A4 piece of paper, I'll just create like a little calendar, and I'll write down the dates and the days and what I'm gonna do each day. And I make sure I have my rest day and a day of like yoga, but I make sure that I'm doing like a couple days of cardio and a couple days of weight training and whatever. So I will create a plan. And when you create a plan, this kind of goes back to my last tip, and that is gonna help you keep on track. It's gonna keep you accountable. I find like if I'm able to tick something off, it keeps me motivated. I'm able to then stick to the habit. I will be building this habit over these like 4 weeks in my plan, and it will become part of my daily routine. And this is going to help you stick to your habit, is creating a plan and writing it down on paper. Okay, this is the habit that I want to start. Write a little plan or write a little list. You could put it on your to-do list every day so you know when you've done it. You can tick it off. It keeps you accountable. It makes you feel proud of yourself when you're able to tick it off, and it keeps you on track. My fourth tip for you is to take one habit at a time. You know, we can overwhelm ourselves and get a little bit too overexcited when we think, oh, I really want to have this big lifestyle change. I want to do this, I want to do that. And I've made that mistake before where I've tried to implement all these different habits, and it's too much change at once. Stick to one habit at a time and really focus on that one habit. Because the more you focus on that one thing, prioritize that one thing, that is really going to help you stick to that habit, because all of your focus is on that. And over time, once you've built that habit, then you can add another habit in there. But like I said before, small changes make the biggest difference. And when you focus on that one small change, one habit at a time, you're going to be more likely to be successful in being consistent with that habit and it just becoming just part of your routine. It's normal. It's no longer really a habit that you have to keep track of, because now it's just part of your normal routine, normal day-to-day life. It's just something that you love to do. So yeah, I try and stick with one thing at a time. If your main focus is exercise, focus on that. If your main focus is like a simple food change that you want to make, maybe you want to change the way you eat for breakfast or your lunch, or the way you go about picking your food at the grocery store. Try and make little changes, and they're gonna make the biggest difference. So yeah, again, just stick to that one habit, focus all your attention on that one habit, and that's going to help you. It's going to be less chaotic. You're not going to feel overwhelmed. You're not going to feel down on yourself because you haven't been able to complete it all. You're just going to be focused on one thing, and that's going to be a lot easier to start implementing in your day-to-day life, because it's just one thing, and you just need to find out when is the best time in the day to make sure that you're starting building that habit. Okay, and you're gonna stick to that habit much easier if you just focus on one at a time. So my next tip is to pick habits that reinforce each other. So what I mean by this, for example, is one of my habits, I wanted to have a good morning routine, and it was kind of such a big, vague habit. So I decided to kind of break it down into little habits that reinforce each other. Now, again, it's important to kind of focus on one habit at a time and slowly add in little habits that reinforce each other. But if I want to wake up earlier and have a good morning routine, then I'm going to make sure that each of those habits reinforce each other. They're easy to do one after another. So if I wake up earlier, I want to drink my water. I'm then going to do my little bit of meditation and a little bit of stretching in the morning. And then I'm going to make sure I'm eating a healthy breakfast and I'm getting ready for the day. And even though it's very simple, those are little habits that we need to learn to stick to, and they are going to reinforce each other. I'm going to do one, that's going to lead to the another, and it's going to lead to another. And overall, I'm going to reach my goal of having a good morning routine. Okay, so my next tip for you is to celebrate your small achievements. So if you've, for example, if you've kind of set a plan, like I said before, I've set like 4-week plans. And if you've been able to tick off the majority of those workouts, for instance, if you're wanting to get in shape and feel good, and you've been able to tick off the majority of all that exercise, celebrate. Go out for a meal, or do something fun, or treat yourself to a little something, or have a nice little pamper night to celebrate. Just celebrate in some way, and that's going to really build your confidence. It's gonna keep you motivated, and it's gonna feel good. You're gonna feel proud of yourself. So make sure you celebrate the small achievements, and over time, that's going to help you just stick to those habits. Okay, so my last tip on how to stick to your habits is to make sure that you surround yourself with support. And surround yourself with supporters such as your friends, your family, your loved ones. And I feel like this is such an important one because we all need a little bit of encouragement every now and again. And it really helps us keep ourselves accountable. Like I said, you're in charge of keeping yourself accountable. But if you find a friend or family member that kind of wants to stick to the same habit, that can really help you. If you're both after the same goal and you're both wanting to stick to this one habit, you can do it together. You can encourage each other. And also, if it's just a habit that you want to do in your daily life, then when you tell somebody about it and you tell them, oh, this is what I'm gonna try and do every morning, or this is what I'm wanting to do, and I hope I can stick to it. You know you've told somebody, and that motivates you to do it. And it's nice to have that encouragement, and they can help you celebrate your small achievements. So yeah, just simply surround yourself with people that have the same mindset as you, that are positive and uplifting, and just give you that little boost of motivation to keep going and stick to your habits. Okay, so that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you some ideas on how to stick to your own habits. I know it can be difficult, and for me it's quite difficult. Sometimes I'll look back and I'll think, oh gosh, because I'm aware about it and I'm aware of the habits that I want to achieve, I can look back and I can think, gosh, I didn't stick to my habits this week. I really need to get back on track. And these tips help me get back on track. I know what to do when, I feel like I'm slacking on my habits. And yeah, so it's good to keep yourself accountable, keep yourself motivated, try these tips. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!